And it's not a big deal because you're always in it, you're always experiencing it. And it's not a big deal because the climax is happening constantly. And as a result, you don't need to get off all the time. It's not the biggest thing that could happen to you in your sexual experience because it's all good. And it doesn't even matter if you do have it because it's still fantastic. How you going? In this video, we're going to be talking about the letting go process, what the fuck that means in a bit more depth, and how it can apply to you. In various other videos, I've talked a lot about anxiety, clearing basically just a lot of emotions out. But one thing that when you work with me, you'll realize that a lot of the stuff that we work through is the letting go process. It's a process of feeling our emotions, understanding what's going on, and sort of letting them go in a way that I'm about to talk about now that helps people move forward in their relationships, in their life in general, and just fucking towards goals, for example. Like, some people use me as a life coach, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Just do what you gotta do, right? So the general idea with the whole letting go process is that, well, sometimes we're trying to move forward, but we can't move forward because we're holding on to the past. So I find this to be a number of ways. For example, when people are in their relationship, sometimes they can't date because of all the negative emotions or the pains or the stigmas that they have around dating. Because for some people, they don't want to look like a fool, so they don't even try dating. For example, right? One example in my own life, I used to live in an area that was around the university that I went to, and I realized I lived there for years, and I could only move away from there once I realized and let go that I was holding on to certain aspects of what I would consider my youth. And so it's a very interesting process. It's almost a huge foundation of my life. And if you're someone who knows me personally, especially personally on a spiritual level, you know it's something that I almost live and breathe on a second-by-second basis. But letting go is not what a lot of people think it is. It is one of these things that, and honestly, I used to think letting go means you forced yourself to drop it. Like, you know, you let it go. Like, you've let go of anger, for example, means you're no longer angry. While there is some truth to that, it's not 100% true. So in this video, we're talking about the letting go process, what the fuck it actually is, and how more specifically you can apply it to your actual situation. Now, this was asked to me, this video was actually a request by one of my clients. And hi, if you're watching this, hello. You know, everyone likes to learn in different ways. I find this very interesting. I'm like, you have access to me 24/7. And we're doing this video because sometimes we need to learn in different ways. And at the same time, sometimes people need to love in particular ways. It's whatever people need at the time. And I'm happy to be able to do this for you now. So let's talk about this process. So the question that was very specifically asked, and I'm not going to post a screenshot from this just because, you know, fucking client, privilege, confidentiality. But she did ask, what does the process of letting go look like? Do I give in to fear or try to avoid it? Now, we're using fear as an example, but you can literally apply this to any emotion you have in the body. Now, the process of letting go, and I have talked about this in other videos, and you know, I really highly recommend you binge watch every video I've ever made, ever. Going backwards, not forwards, because you probably do yourself better going backwards. The letting go process. We can interchange the word letting go with the word surrender. For example, letting go of an emotion or a fear or something doesn't involve forcing yourself to stop feeling it. It actually involves allowing yourself to feel it. For example, in the example of fear, in this case, if you're feeling afraid of something, it's really recommended that you let yourself be afraid. Often the process of fighting the emotion, often the process of saying like, well, I don't want to feel this way, or I don't want to look this way, or I don't want to come across this way. That itself is the thing that it's like, basically, long story short, is that we suppress our emotions. And only when we actually allow ourselves to feel those emotions do we let them go. So by letting go, we're actually dropping the emotion because we're transcending it, But also simultaneously, when we say let go, what I also mean is that we're surrendering to it. We're letting go of control of the emotion. Now, that doesn't mean that, for example, if you let go of fear, you're going to be an afraid person, or if you let go of pain, you're going to be in pain. It might mean it's temporary, that you are enhancing it, like you are allowing yourself to feel it and it all comes out like a volcano or like fucking pimples being popped. But what tends to happen is that when they come out, they come out. It's like, imagine you have a splinter in your hand and you're like, well, I don't want to use this hand anymore. Once you let go of the emotion, so when I mean let go, I mean surrender to it. Feel the fucking pain in your hand, the metaphorical pain. In this case, it's a hand, pain in your hand. There, only then can you look at it and you can decide, do you like it there? Do you not like it there? Can you pull it out? So in the example in relationships, one of the biggest things, for example, when it comes to dating specifically, when it comes to physically human interaction between one person and another, some people tend to have some stigmas around how they come across. You know, they don't want to come across as too desperate, or they don't want to come across as no friends. Now, when I'm working with people, through the process of us working together, just by, at the very least, pure osmosis, do I help my people let go of their shit. So what that means is, because I've personally cleared those resistances, it's very easily and as fast as the person can absorb it, do we pull them out of it. But the process itself, if you were to take it at the very minutiae level, is allowing yourself to feel the goddamn shit you're going through. Once you have felt it, emotions have a cycle. So emotions have a cycle, which means they have a timeline that they go on. And often when we're afraid of feeling something, we're like, oh, I don't want to feel anger. I don't want to feel desperate. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to feel terrible, right? We're actually slowing down that timeline. Only by surrendering to it, letting go of control, does that timeline fucking take the course it's meant to take. A lot of emotions, for example, or more specifically, a lot of negative emotions tend to, they tend to only last, for example, maybe an hour, maybe a day, but they tend to last us a lifetime because we're too afraid to look at it. We're too afraid to feel desperate. Emphasis on the word feel. We're too afraid to feel desperate, scared, anxious, depressed. We're too afraid to feel those things. So as consequent, what do? We spread that shit out. It takes us time. That's why when I work with people who are depressed, I'm like, feel depressed. We surrender to that fucking depression, and what happens? Pretty soon they're bored of it. They're done with it. The emotion has completed its cycle. It has completed its loop. And this is exactly like the hero's journey. So the hero's journey, if you've ever studied film ever in the history of ever, lesson one, usually a film, is with storylines, there is a hero's journey, which means a character is in the status quo, which means they have their life, right? And they will go on a journey. They'll go on a journey, there'll be some problem where they have to learn master some tool, and then eventually they beat it in the outside world. For example, in Star Wars, it's a fucking lightsaber in the Force, and then he eventually returns home. Lord of the Rings, they go back to Hobbiton, for example. Harry Potter goes back to the cupboard under the stairs, but this time he's got a motherfucking wand and power of magic, bitches. But it's the returning home that's the most important. So what happens is when you've allowed your emotion to complete its cycle, you're actually returning home with mastery over that emotion, which therefore means if you have conquered fear, and or conquered, we can say let go of fear, understood it, surrendered to fear, you can then witness and perceive fear in other people. If someone is afraid, and they were afraid in a similar or interesting way to you, you can not only perceive that they are afraid, but because you've gone through it and returned to home source of who you actually are, you can perceive them and allow that you can help them in the way that they need help the most, because you have been there and you can witness them without processing your own bullshit because you're done with it. So another way of looking at it is what I love working with people on is helping them see how attractive they already are. Now, when we understand how attractive we already are, because you already are attractive, it's not a process of becoming attractive, it's a process of discovering your attractive nature. What actually happens is that one, we have to let go of all the stuff that's stopping us from perceiving that. But two, once we've let go of that, all that's left is natural high self-esteem. People start to notice very objectively that with regards to the human nature and human physical form, that maybe their form is actually quite good. Just because it doesn't look like the things you see on TV doesn't mean it's not something that is beautiful or powerful or sexy or wonderful or desirable, for example. But basically, another way of looking at it is once the clouds part, the sky, the fucking light shines. So once insecurities, pains, all of these things, sometimes desires and feeling proud about something, because sometimes we can want something so much. We can want something so much that we fucking choke it. And that's the same thing with these emotions, that we can hold on to something, a pain, because we're afraid of feeling it. So we hold on to it. We're like, no, I don't want to deal with that yet. You know, this is the same thing when I work with people on business, for example. It's like sometimes with business, people fucking aren't done with being frustrated about money yet. So I'm like, it's time to be frustrated. And once they're done, they've completed the cycle, they have then, that's the interesting thing. They are not only done with being frustrated about money, they're like, I just want it simple, let's make it simple, this is what I'll do. The answer is there. But more importantly, they can see when other people are frustrated. And isn't that a good idea for business? So for example, if you've got problems feeling loved, and I do have a whole free online course called Worthy of Love, link in the motherfucking description. But when you're afraid being loved and you allow yourself to be afraid being loved, you complete the cycle. Or you're more specifically afraid of being rejected, you can complete the cycle. Then you can see it in other people. And if someone's afraid of being rejected and you're out with friends, you can show them a good time. They might actually like you. They might actually fall in love with you because you can give them what they wanted without them even knowing what they wanted. And if someone was to do that for you, you probably feel pretty fucking fantastic about it, wouldn't you? Or fantastic about them more specifically. So I love the letting go process. I am constantly in what we would call contemplation rather than meditation, where I'm observing my thoughts. So here's what you do. Here's, if you want a practical step, apart from Harvey says, feel my emotions, but I'm thinking about how I should feel my emotions, right? Well, break it down. If you're thinking something, or if you're worried about something and it's manifesting at thoughts, what's the feeling underneath those thoughts? If you're worried about, oh, but I'm never going to get out of bed on time, or you're worried about, oh, but I overeat, right? What are the feelings underneath that? And allow yourself to feel those things. Now, usually they'll pass very quickly. Very quickly. In fact, when I work with people and we do this very intensely, what tends to happen is that they discover their power, they discover a lot of things about them very quickly. Now, sometimes when I'm working with people, I'm facilitating letting go. Sometimes I'm just being like a mechanic, being like, all right, let go of this, let go of this, let go of this. Like, it depends on the person, depends on the style, depends on what they really need. And you will know what you need as well when we work together. But what tends to happen and why I love this process is because if it doesn't happen very quickly, you will realize very soon that when you let go of an emotion, it's actually part of like a composite part. So if you've let go of part of an emotion, right, it's only part, which means there might be more to let go. But once you've let go of, for example, everything around fear, or you let go of one small part around fear, usually it echoes through the rest of your life and your subconscious mind already starts to heal all the fears, all the pains, all those things in a similar accord. So the basic idea behind the whole letting go process is that we suppress our emotions. So we suppress them, we don't allow ourselves to feel them, and as a result, we end up holding ourselves back because we're stopping ourselves from feeling our emotions. So we stop ourselves from feeling whatever it is that would trigger those emotions. Triggering those emotions. This is why it's really funny. They say, they made me feel bad. Did they make you feel bad? Or through the process of seeing that person or being around that person, did they force you to look at your goddamn feelings that you've been suppressing and you feel bad about them? Feel bad. Allow yourself to feel bad. But if you're worried, but if I let go of emotions, I'm gonna be, what is it? What do people say? What did I used to say? I was like, I'm gonna be really, what was it? I'm going to be really immobile. I'm not going to do anything, right? When I first discovered this, I was like, I'm just going to feel. I would lie in bed, feel for a while, and I was really afraid of being immobile. What happened was then I was like, let's feel that fear of being immobile, and pretty soon I was like, bang, out of bed. All right, time to do the things. Let's do the things. It's the same thing with, you probably notice now, I produce like 3, sometimes 4, sometimes 2, I don't really care, videos a week, right? That was around me letting go of like certain security blankets that I'd set up. And I realized as a result, across the board, I can't remember what I let go, but across the board, I was like, oh my God, there's so many stuff that when I'm working with people, I just have all of these things that are security blankets. Like 1 video a week, 1 article a week, 1 podcast a week. That was all set up for me to make me feel like I was doing something so I didn't feel bad about myself. Once I didn't worry about feeling bad, that's the thing, right? Once I didn't worry about feeling bad, what did I do? Well, I was fucking me. I like producing videos. Let's produce videos. God damn it. Then pretty soon I discovered the little premiere function. I was like, I like having videos ready for people to see, and they can go through my channel and be like, oh, there's like 10 more videos coming. I like that topic. I like that topic. I can set a reminder. I think that's really fucking cool. So then I got addicted to it. I'm like, let's fucking do it, but not addicted to it like an emotional attachment. Addicted to it in the sense that it's fun. Like I don't need it for my existence, but let's just give it a go. So the fun thing is when it comes to you. So if you're watching this video being like, he's talked a lot about letting go, like what does it mean? At the very core of it means feel your emotions without modifying it. Allow yourself to feel your goddamn emotions. If you're feeling worried about your body, or like, for example, I was explaining to someone the other day, right? I was describing emotions and I was like, well, sometimes you feel hot, right? And they were like, is hot an emotion? And we'll say, well, hot itself is a sensation, but the emotion that we have, our perception of it is the emotion. Our reaction to it is the emotion. So for example, if you're worried about feeling hot, feel the feeling of worried and allow yourself to feel the feeling of hot. Pretty soon, the emotion will do its cycle. You'll let it go because you've let go. You've allowed yourself to surrender to that emotion. Again, I could fucking write books on this shit. Like, I've spent my life, I've actually spent a lot of time not like doing this without even realizing. Only now have I sort of really deeply understood because of various mentors I've had and different books I've read and different things that I've had to discover this the hard way. But once you get it, you fucking get it. You realize that things aren't so bad. You realize that certain things aren't so like, they made me feel this. I can't believe this is happening. When you let go of stuff in your love life, this is what will fucking happen. You will go to a party, right? And realize who is single, who is not, who is interested in you, who is not, all of this sort of stuff. You go to the party, you'll speak to someone, you will literally see in your mind's eye the whole relationship. And you will be like, do I like this? Do I not? How do I want it to go? And it's almost like seeing through the matrix. And you will see, do people actually want you? Or do they just like the idea of you? You know, or do they just want a security blanket? Do they just want comfort? Because you've witnessed it in yourself. And when you've witnessed it in yourself, you can witness it in someone else. And you can choose to give, you can choose to not. You then become the fucking conscious creator of your own reality. And when you're the conscious creator of your own reality, everything you do and say you realize, it's called causality. You know, you decide to get out of bed one day. What do? You go to the gym later on. Then what happens? You're late for this meeting. Or you decide to get out of bed early, and then you go to the gym early, you feel great about yourself, you're a little bit proud, and then you're like, I should let go of pride. Then you realize it's cool, but it's not a big deal. Then you go to work and you're feeling really vibrant, and as a result, you get a promotion. Like you see the causality in the events, and things don't seem so personal. They are so easy, That's why I always keep saying relationships are goddamn easy. Relationships are goddamn easy. Relationships are goddamn easy. Because they're fucking easy. The only thing that's hard is when we have our head up our ass and we ain't seeing what's actually going on in front of us. And this is why, and the person who this video is for, you've experienced this first fucking hand, and to everyone else, you will experience this first fucking hand, that you don't truly need to learn what to do. The information is out there. You've learned, you've been in relationships your whole goddamn life. You've been around it, right? The only thing that is stopping us from knowing what to do is the fact that we are closing our eyes to it. Someone said like, oh, is love blind? Like that fucking thing. I'm like, love isn't blind. We just close our eyes because we're afraid of seeing what's in front of us. If you become friends with fear, what happens? You're not so afraid to open your eyes. You might actually fucking see what's going on. If you're someone who's more spiritually inclined, you'll realize that as you let go, you have access to your higher mind. It's very interesting when you start to realize the causality of our emotions and the events that happen, which is why I often refer to myself as a synchronistic love coach, because when I work with people, I look at the direct relationships between our emotions and the things that happen, but it is and always will be a fucking fascinating thing. When you become conscious of this, you'll realize you've let go of, say, for example, like fear around something, whatever it is, I don't even know. Then suddenly you get more of that something in your life. Or you let go of wanting something. Then as a result, you get that thing in your life. It's an interesting phenomena. It fucking works. And as a result, here's the thing, right? With the example of fear. So with fear, what do? Do you avoid fear? When you say let go of fear, do you go, right, let go of fear. I'm going to stop myself from feeling fear. Or do you let go of control? This is the fucking pop quiz. Do you let go of control of fear and allow yourself to feel it? The answer is the second one. Because also when we let go of control of fear, what happens? We let go of resisting fear. Often a lot of fear exists because we're afraid of feeling the fear in the first place. When we let go of that resistance, there's more of us there. This is why when there's passion in relationships, passionate relationships are a direct result of you not fucking thinking about it and just being in the relationship because there's more you in it. Like these videos, there's more me in it. That's why I was like, if you watch my videos, you'll see with every video that comes out, I'm more and more intense. And I'm okay with that because as I do them more, I let go of stuff that holds me back. And pretty soon they're getting more and more intense, and I'm expecting one of them pretty soon to go stupidly viral. Maybe it'll be this one. Maybe not. Who fucking knows? Also, who gives a shit? Doesn't matter. I do these videos for the love of these videos. I love it. It's like something I really enjoy. It's something that when I was a young warthog and I was really sort of trying to figure myself out, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos. It's almost like a first point of call. So now I'm trying to drop my consciousness into the ocean that I once swam in. And it really helped, and it's something I fucking love. I like producing podcasts. I like writing articles. But articles, not so much. Articles, that's why I'm like once a week, because there's somewhat a pain in the ass. I still have some stuff to let go around articles. One day I'll let go of articles and I'll be like, all right, time to write 100 articles. And I'll probably write an article, like I'll do one for every week of the rest of the year and then be like, and I'm done. Like the amount of energy that exists in you is fucking phenomenal. The amount of power you have, the amount of understanding, the amount of willpower, for example. A lot of people, right, they think of willpower like they go, the secret to success is willpower. So what they do is they try and willpower their way through life. You know, they go, okay, got to force yourself to get out of bed. You got to force yourself to do the work. You got to force yourself to do this. You got to force yourself to work out. Got to force yourself to, I don't know, talk to that person, right? All potentially true in some school of thought, but what we're talking about is lack of willpower. It's not something you do, it's something you are. So for example, if you let go of the fear around talking to the person, if you let go of even wanting to talk to the person, you'll find yourself talking to the person not because you really need to or want to, but that's the most organic, inspired, inspirational thing of the moment. That's why, for example, a lot of people in my life, they call me somewhat of an extremist. Now, I don't mean in a bad sense. I mean it in the sense of I won't do something one day, I'll refuse to, and then pretty much the next week it'll be the whole fucking thing of my existence. Like for example, I used to stress out about exercise, right? I used to stress out about exercise. I used to force myself to go, I was like, go to work out every day. And I did that for like 6 months. And I secretly had this fear. I'm like, if I work out every day, this is what was going through my mind. And this is the silliness of the human mind. This is how we think. So I can look at it and laugh at it. But if you're laughing at me, you gotta fucking laugh at yourself, because this is how the fucking mind works, right? I was like, I work out every day. What if I catch a plane? Then I can't work out every day. We're in Australia. To get to anywhere, it basically takes a day. Oh, I can't work out anymore. And it was seriously like a legitimate stress. But it wasn't stress around working out. It was projected stress. So it was suppressed stress that I hadn't allowed myself to feel, that I was projecting onto physical exercise. Now, what you'll find is, and what I find is all the fucking time, is that we do project. So if we're angry at someone, really, we're not angry at them. We might be, but we're projecting angriness onto them. If it wasn't them, it would be like fucking mayonnaise, can of mayonnaise. You drop it on the floor, goddamn mayonnaise, what's wrong with you? You know, like, we project it onto the world. So that's why we should stop taking how other people make us feel so seriously, unless they're literally shooting us with a gun right there. On an emotional level, it's not so serious. We are projecting onto them. If you have let go of that anger and frustration, pretty soon no one can make you feel angry and frustrated anyway. Anyway, one day I had a deep meditation session. I don't know what I was meditating about, but I clearly let go of some stress. As a result, I woke up and was like, oh my God, you know what if I catch a plane, I can just not work out that day, or I can put it on pause. I can just deal with it as it comes. And it's silly saying it out loud, but this is the silliness of the human fucking mind. This is how silly it is. I can't remember the word, Satori, the Zen word, Eckhart Tolle talks about it, where it's like a Zen Buddhist monk word, meaning like the glasses were on top of your head the entire time. So it's like the answer is always there. The answer is always fucking there, but are our eyes open to motherfucking seeing it? The answer is, if you don't know what to do, no. But I've got to figure it out. It's like, maybe you should feel the fact that you think you have to figure it out, because that's one of the things to let go. Then long story short, I'm currently on a program which I, after the meditation, was inspired to write it down. I call it the Ball Busting Body Shaper, where I was working out twice a day. Follow me on my Instagram so you can see my stories, at Get Him Hooked. By the time this video is released, I'll still be doing it. I've noticed some interesting effects. I had the worst week 1, I was really fatigued. Then I let go of that fatigue, and then I was like, wow, I should work out even more. Like, it was really intense. But as a result, then, the joy is, the human experience is seeing the evolution. We are here to witness our own evolution. And so that's why people say, it's not in the, what is it they say? It's not in the destination, it's in the journey. But that's the fucking human experience, is the motherfucking journey. What else can you experience but the journey right now? The only question is it the journey you want, or is it the journey you're secretly in existential crisis over? So allow yourself to feel it. 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 Another thing I personally let go, just to give you some personal examples, was around my sexuality. So it was really funny. For a while, I was like, am I gay? Because I started to notice human form, the human male form, as something that was really beautiful, while before I wasn't able to witness it because I had some hang-ups around it. I don't know what it was. Because I was flicking through, here's real time with motherfucking Harvey, right? I was flicking through porn, and then there was some gay porn. I was like, that's not so bad. Maybe I'm gay. And everyone I spoke to, they're like, you're not gay. I'm like, but you don't know this. I don't know this. Long story short, am I? I don't know. I'm pretty damn straight too, you know, like what's the spectrum? So I am pretty comfortable not really knowing or caring, to be honest, what I am. Like, it's not my identity. It's not how I see myself. I see some people as beautiful, some people as like probably more my body responds to them. But what happened, the reason why I bring this up is because around sexuality, then I let go around the feeling of needing orgasm, which is around the same time that I started producing those videos about like, hey, do you want to have a better sex life? I think it was around Valentine's Day. You want to have a better sex life? Have you ever thought about not trying to fucking like come all the time? And as a result, I feel really all the time like in an almost orgasmic state, And I want to talk more about that here, but that's more stuff that I would reserve for my podcast. So if you do listen to my podcast, please check that out. It's called the Honest Modern Dating Podcast. It's where I yell at you more about dating and relationships. If you haven't got enough of me there, you'll definitely get me over there. But I started noticing that my whole experience became more orgasmic. Some people can call that tantric. And as a result, what was really interesting was that it was like sex for me became not like an on or off switch, but it was like it's an always happening thing. It's like, oh, you with your partner. It's like, okay, cool. Like cooking some tea. All right, let's while the kettle's boiling. Kettle's finished. All right, let's go have some tea. Like, it's not a big deal because everything feels great. And it's not a big deal because you're always in it, you're always experiencing it. And it's not a big deal because the climax is happening constantly. And as a result, you don't need to get off all the time. It's not the biggest thing that could happen to you in your sexual experience because it's all good. And it doesn't even matter if you do have it because it's still fantastic. Anyway, that was this video. I think it's one of the longest videos I've produced in a while. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like, because if you did, then I like you. And if you do want to work with me one-on-one, if you do want to be one of those amazing people, because I think everyone's amazing, but, you know, it's not like you're not amazing, it's just more amazing. You can work with me in my 6-week program. People want to do my 6-week program, then sometimes they really want to do an extension, which is always fantastic. You can apply for a free call so you could experience it and talk to me one-on-one at www.gettinghooked.com. There'll be buttons everywhere. Buttons motherfucking everywhere. I even thought about doing a pop-up, but I didn't want my website to be one of those ones where it's like, have you thought about being annoyed right now with my pop-up? But yeah, so that's that. And make sure to comment or something, because I like it. Yeah, except for those people, yeah. In my earlier videos where I had a lot of hang-ups, it's so funny. This is an interesting thing as well. In my earlier videos where I've got a lot of emotional hang-ups still, and I have less now, like significantly less than my earlier ones, it's always funny because I get a lot of people who love it and a lot of people who hate it, or they think it's silly, which is a direct response to how I was feeling at the time. Like, I loved it. I also thought it was silly. Now, very rarely do I get comments that are like, that's really stupid. Maybe on those earlier videos. So this is what I mean, like the results you get are a direct reflection of your emotional state. You know, I think I was at a party once and it was really funny. Like people were making fun of me for some reason. And they were like, I hope you realize we're making fun of you for the last 5 minutes. I go, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. And then I just changed the topic to whatever I wanted it to be. And I bring this up as a really good example because let go of that feeling. Letting go means surrendering, means letting go of control. Thank you so much. You're fantastic. You're beautiful. You're amazing. You're glorious. You shine bright, even if you don't think you do. And I'll talk to you soon, if not sooner.